Hello, 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 boys and girls. Hello. What am I missing? Oh, alright. Alright. It is January 1st. So as we're marching through 2025, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be going over all the movies I watched over the past year. That funny was so moving. I picked out some rankings. I got my favorites of 2024, my disappointments of 2024, my surprises, and then after that, I'll just talk about all the other movies that I watched. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today, is just ranking all the movies that I watched throughout 2024. And then towards the end, I'll do some honorable mentions for like television or the YouTube channels I watched this year, the music I listened to, stuff like that. But yeah, before we get started though, if you'd like to listen to the uncut version of this, of me just rambling on about all these different movies and not just getting the edited version that I've done for YouTube, you can go over to my Patreon and you'll find the unedited version of this, as well as all my like movie watch alongs and my unedited versions of like gameplay videos and stuff as well. And I'll be posting a longer version of the video I'll be recording afterwards after this, which is watching all the trailers for the movies of 2025. I'll pick some of the best trailers to post on YouTube. But if you want to watch all the trailers or watch me react to all the trailers of 2025 that we've gotten so far, you can go over and watch the full length of that over on Patreon as well. I'll be posting it there. So yeah, I think that's all the housekeeping I've got. And let's get into this. So before we get over here into my rankings, let's just uh let's just take you through. Hold on. Let's just take you through all the movies I've watched this year in theaters through AMC. There was a few movies I watched not in the AMC, like I watched Sonic 3 at the Alamo Drafthouse a few weeks ago, but the majority of my movie watches are through AMC. So yeah, let's just go through this here, starting with the Beekeeper. Then going to probably the worst movie this year is Madam Web. Bob Marley One Love, Dune, some pretty great ones here. Then we start out with like the summer blockbusters with Ghostbusters and Godzilla X Kong, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which an alright movie. It wasn't as good as the original trilogy, but it was alright. And then one of my yeah, I'd say probably one of my like favorite movies of this year is The Fall Guy. It's definitely one that I recommend everyone go watch. It's a good movie. And Inside Out 2, that's also a really good one. Uh I cried during Inside Out 2, like every time I watched it. And of course I've watched Deadpool and Wolverine several times. No, I had to go and watch Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, I watched Coraline the 15th anniversary edition. It's not really an edition, like they're just celebrating 15 years at the theaters for Coraline. Then I got an early access of Transformers 1. That was a really good one. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep though the first time I watched this. Like at this early access, I'm pretty sure I fell asleep. But I watched it again with my dad later on this year. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. Piece by Piece, I really enjoyed. These two were kind of the flops of the year, of course. Like no one really enjoyed those. This one I actually really enjoyed. Venom: The Last Dance. I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did. And then, I ended out with watching Interstellar again in the theaters. Yeah, and then the most recent one I watched was Mufasa. I still haven't watched Nosferatu or what was the other one that came out this year? Oh, A Complete Unknown or Baby Girl. I haven't watched any of those three, but I did watch Sonic 3 at the Alamo Draft House. I have not watched Wicked or Moana 2 yet, or Gladiator 2. I don't really care to watch Gladiator 2. I mean, maybe once I watch Gladiator 1, but I've still never even seen that one. So, Wicked, I plan on watching next year before part 1 and doing a movie reaction for YouTube for Wicked. So, actually, I plan on doing a lot more than that because I haven't seen The Wizard of Oz in quite a few years either. So, I'll probably rewatch that and then I'll probably watch or react to some like the making of Wizard of Oz on like YouTube or something, and I get the behind the scenes knowledge of Wizard of Oz, and then who knows? I may try and read the Wicked books. I I've heard the Wicked books are kind of out there, uh, and but yeah, I may read the books. I don't know. I don't know if I want to after all the things I've read about the or seen about the books. But I'm definitely I'm definitely gonna watch the movie uh when it comes closer to Wicked Part 2 being on the theaters, and yeah, and then I'll watch Wicked Part 1 for a movie reaction and then go watch Wicked Part 2 or Wicked for what is it? Wicked for Good in theaters. Yeah, that's a plan for next year when that comes out. So that was pretty much everything I watched in MC. Yeah, let's go over my rankings list here. My favorite movies of this year. Starting at number 10, I have Anora. If you have not seen or heard of Anora, Anora is a movie that came out pretty recently. Came out in October, I think. Yeah, October 18th. And it's about a sex worker who gets mixed up with this Russian kid, and they end up getting married. But then, like, a bunch of other things happen. A bunch of other things happen, and she just gets mixed up with a lot of trouble. And it was a pretty good movie though. It was a strange movie that I was not familiar with Sean Baker at all. But when I before I went and watched Anora, I sat here and watched the Florida Project, and the Florida Project was also a strange movie, but I enjoyed Anora more. I think out of the two, I think I enjoyed Anora more. But yeah, they're both like really strange movies. Sean Baker makes some pretty strange movies. I still enjoyed the movie. Um, not as much as all these other movies, of course, but I enjoyed the movie enough where it's in my number 10th spot for my favorites this year. And then after that, coming at number 9 is the new Andrew Garfield Florence Pugh movie, We Live in Time. No, actually, my sister and I want to watch this in the theaters. Probably not the best movie to go watch with siblings. You know, this rom com type movie, but it was an A24 movie, and I watch all of A24's films. Well, I've tried to watch all of A24's films over the past few years. That or yeah, the films that they've released over the past few years. I've never watched like the stuff they did before, like Everything Everywhere All at Once. But yeah, like when the most recent A24 films I've been trying to keep up with and watch. And We Live in Time is the latest one, starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh as a couple, and it's just a movie going through their life together. They had yeah, like them having kids and getting married and all that. It was a really good movie. It was a strange movie how they kept just cutting back and forth between certain periods and time, but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I don't really have much else to say. It was a good movie. It was a good rom com. I don't even know if you could consider a rom com because there wasn't much comedy to the movie. It was basically just a romance movie. Yeah, that was We Live in Time. Coming at number 8 is Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Now this one is one that I've been expecting or wanting them to make a sequel to because I enjoy Beetlejuice. I mean, he's a little pervy in the first movie, not as much as the dude from Nightmare on Elm Street. What's that guy's name? Freddy Krueger. Not as much as that guy. Freddy Krueger. That dude's definitely a pervert. Yeah, that dude's a perv. But Beetlejuice isn't as pervy as he was in the first movie or the sequel Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. And and this one they bring in Jenna Ortega as the granddaughter of or the daughter of Winona Ryder, the granddaughter of I forget her name. Uh what's her name? What's her name? Catherine O'Hare. That's her. That's her name. I was like, why is she not popping up? Yeah, Catherine O'Hare. And then of course Michael Keaton is back as Beetlejuice. Oh, and the cameo of Danny DeVito of as the janitor in this movie. That was pretty funny. Uh, but yeah, I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it more than the first one. I think I don't know. It is still pretty goofy, but the CGI isn't as goofy. I guess, of course, because the first one. What was it, like the 70s or 80s? First one was in the 80s, so yeah, obviously the CGI is gonna be a lot better now. Anyway, number 7 is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This is the most recent one I've watched. Well, Mufasa was the most recent one I watched, but I watched Sonic 3 before Mufasa. And Sonic 3, that was a great movie. S- Uh there was so many moments in that movie where I was just grinning ear to ear. I just could not stop laughing and smiling throughout that movie. There's some. really cool moments where they just re recaptured like moments from the games, and there was some pretty cool fight scenes as well. I just wish they had more fighting between Sonic and Shadow. That's my only complaint about the movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed Sonic. Sonic 3 was such a good movie. And I got to watch it in the Alamo for the first time. For the first time visiting the Alamo Draft House and getting to experience that and stuff as well. It was yeah, it was a great time. I had a great time with Sonic. And then that leads us to number 6, which is Quiet Place Day 1. Uh Quiet Place Day 1. Trying to remember. Try- I was trying to remember if I took my parents. I think I did. I think this is the one I took my because I've watched all of the Quiet Place films with my parents. I'm pretty sure I actually got a photo on Snapchat of me sitting there in the movies with them watching Quiet Place, or before the movie started, getting a photo of us sitting there in the movies, about to watch day one. Uh, and from what I remember of this movie, with Joseph Quinn and Lupita Nyong'o as the two main stars, well, and then the cat. Can't forget about the cat. The cat was the star of the movie, basically. uh, I had a great time. Uh, I I enjoyed getting to experience like what a quiet place could be like in a crowded city, and I really enjoyed getting to see like different people in the world of a quiet place, and different like storylines other than John Krasinski's and Emily Blunt's like family of 5, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 5. Well, no. No, it was 3. Right. Yeah, it was 3 in the first movie, then they lost the one kid, and they had the other kid before John Krasinski passed away in the first movie. Yeah, that's right. So 4. But yeah, I really enjoyed getting to know like other parts of the Quiet Place world, and just exploring like a larger part of the the world through the lens of like these aliens landing on Earth and taking over. Uh like in a big city like New York. It was a great time, and I'm glad I got to take my parents to watch that one as well as the first two. That's the only like thriller horror movies that they'll go and watch in the theaters. Uh, I really enjoyed that movie. So it's gonna be at number 6, and then number 5 is another John Krasinski original, which is If. There's nothing wrong with this movie, like not at all. It's a wonderful movie. It's a beautiful family, uh, like adventurous, like Disney type of film. Even though it's not Disney, it's just a great film. It's a great family film. I loved every bit of If. it was just it was a really good movie, and if they had not released as many movies as they did, If probably would have went into the number one spot. But uh, there's just not much wrong with that movie at all. Like everything is just. I don't know how many times I've fallen asleep to the theme music to If. Like uh, I don't want to get them wrong, but who was the composer of? Oh, Michael Giacchino. Okay, so the same guy who did like the Incredibles music and stuff did If. Yeah, same guy who did. Oh, yeah, he did the Batman most recently, but then he did all the Cars and Incredibles and Ratatouille, and he's done a bunch of Pixar work. But that guy, that guy composed the music to If, and the the If music. My gosh, I I don't even know what to say about it. It's just so good. It's a beautiful piece of work. See if I can play a little bit of it. The If suite. Like it's just so good. So good. So beautiful. And it's like 7 minutes long too. I don't know how many times I've fallen asleep to this. I'll just play the If soundtrack and fall asleep to that. Yeah, it's just really good. Oh, I forgot the next one on my list. Right. All right. So number 4 brings us to Godzilla X Kong. And for this one, all I'm gonna do, all I'm gonna do is show you my favorite clip of this movie. Oh, I thought that was it. Cairo. This is this is my favorite. Now I've watched this movie again with my dad as well because he didn't watch it in theaters, but I did. I watched it in AMC, of course. Now I didn't get the special topper for this movie. I don't know why I didn't get it, but they didn't give it to me. I did get they must have been sold out or something. But I did get the Kong special Kong special cup for it. But it was supposed to come with a cool topper for the like look at that. Look at how cool those toppers are. You get one for Godzilla, one for Kong, and one for Scar. Each come with the cup. But I didn't get the topper. And I was there premiere night. They must have been sold out or something. But yeah, I got the cup at least. badass badass cup. I'm a huge King Kong fan. Have been since the Jack Black uh Jack Black I want to say Percy Jackson. It's not Percy Jackson. What's that guy's name? Peter Jackson, that's his name. The guy who made the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit movies. Yeah. Uh Peter Jackson's King Kong, the one starring Jack Black. I've been a fan of King Kong since this movie came out. Well, it came out 7 years after I was born, but yeah, huge fan of King Kong. Now I have went and watched the original movie, the black and white movie. I have watched this. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of King Kong. So when I saw that he was finally getting to team up with Godzilla and not fight Godzilla, I was all for it. I was all down for that shit. But yeah, let me just show you this clip. Oh, this is my favorite clip of Godzilla X Kong. Giant hand coming out of the earth, screams for Godzilla. Godzilla's like, "Oh no, hell no, motherfucker! I'm coming for you." and then Kong's like, no, 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 no. I just want help. I just want help. Damn. What happened to oh shit. I did not mean to open that. What happened to the actual fight scene though? Oh yeah. I think this is it. This is a full scene right here. Yeah. Godzilla's just like booking it for King Kong. And King Kong's like, no, no, I need your help. I need your help. Like, I don't want to fight. Almost gets laid out there. I'll throw some sand. Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, now he's angry though. Let's just team up, Godzilla. Quit fighting me. Let's just team up. Oh, don't stomp him. Boom. Uppercut. Boom. Godzilla. Godzilla ain't moving after that. Anyway, yeah, that's my favorite scene from Godzilla X Kong. Such a good movie. Such a good movie. If you get a chance to watch it, go watch it. Mothra. Mothra appears in Godzilla X Kong as well. And she's like one of the most beautiful creatures ever, dude. Just no words. No words at all. Like she's just beautiful. Mothra is one of the most epic creatures ever. And I hope we get a whole movie about Mothra or a whole series about Mothra, like in the future. Because we've gotten one about Godzilla, we've gotten one about King Kong. I hope we get one about Mothra. And then, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what other Titans they'd be able to fight in the newer movies. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next installation of this franchise because I love it. I love it all. I still haven't watched Godzilla minus one. I still need to watch that. Maybe I'll watch that for the channel sometime. I've heard that's like one of the best Godzilla movies there is. Yeah, I still haven't seen it. But yeah, Godzilla X Kong. Go watch it. All right. That leads into number three, which is The Fall Guy. Now, if you've not seen The Fall Guy is one of the most underappreciated movies of this year. I have not heard many people talk about or show their love for this movie. Besides Coisandro. Uh yeah, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso. It's even got like Winston Duke who plays M'Baku from Black Panther. And it's got Teresa Palmer who if I remember correctly, I think Teresa Palmer. Let me look. I think Teresa Palmer is in that movie called The Family. Um Movies. Oh yeah, she's in I Am Number Four as well, and The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Yeah, and she's the daughter of the hotel manager and Bedtime Stories. I remember that. But I'm pretty sure she was in that movie The Family. Maybe that's not her. Maybe the is the family might be the girl from Glee actually. Yeah, who's that? Oh yeah, that's the girl from Lee. Okay, I was getting them mixed up. Oh, she's also in number four though. I am number four. Oh, funny, they were both in the same movie, and I was getting them mixed up. Anyway, yeah. The Fall Guy, great movie. It's about a guy who is like a stunt performer or stunt man for movies, but he's in love with, well, at the time she's a uh at the time I think she's one of the camera people for movies that I just goes through and runs the camera. Um but then she ends up going back and she like becomes a director. Uh but like this the stuntman has like this huge crush on this director, and he he finally gets to work with her again. He gets his chance to work with his crush again, and they start falling in love while working on this movie. But then the stunt man that he was actually uh like covering, because the guy went missing or whatever, so they asked him to cover for him. Or no, like the main actor, I think, who he is doing stunt work for, goes missing or something. So he has to go off and like find the actor who he's supposed to be doing stunt work for on this movie. But then he starts doing all this like spy FBI type shit, uh to go and find this actor. But yeah, it's like a rom-com with action, but the movie is also about like aliens or something. So like it's a mix of all types of genres, and it's meant for people who love movies and like love behind the scenes works of movies and stuff, and like getting to see all that sort of stuff. But then it's also like it's a romance movie. It's a movie about these two who are falling in love while all this other shit is going on around them. Like it's just a great movie. It has so much going on in it, and at the end of the day, it's just about these two people falling in love. It's such a good movie. Such a good movie. And it's got some of the best action scenes out of this year. Well, besides Deadpool and Wolverine, but out of this year, like it's got some of the best stunt work, and it's all like for the makers of movies. It's such a beautiful movie, and I I'm so glad that the people who are like behind like all the stunt works of movies and stuff are finally getting the appreciation that they deserve for all the stunt work that they do on these movies. Um anyway, uh let's move on to my number 2. Number 2 is Inside Out 2, the sequel to Inside Out. I watched Inside Out before going back and watching the sequel to this when it came out, and I don't think I've cried that much in a day. Like I get it all at any point in time, but watching Inside Out and then going to watch Inside Out 2, I don't I don't know how much I cried that day, but god damn it, I was I was an emotional wreck that day. Inside Out 2, that anxiety attack scene or that anxiety scene, whoa, like that was nothing I ever expected to see in a Pixar film at all. At all. I was not expecting that. Inside Out 2, just thinking about it is about to make me cry, dude. Such a good movie. I I can't even say anything about Inside Out 2. I just any anything I'm thinking of just makes me want to go watch it. But if I watch it, I know I'll just cry again. Um but everything about that movie was perfect. The new emotions that they added, the the trying to think of what they called it, like them trying to like shove like memories towards the back of the mind and like them, yeah, just like certain memories just, oh, Riley won't need this, shove it towards the back of the mind, like all that was brilliant. Like all the different islands and stuff that was added but then taken away, and then like all the, I forget what they call it, but like the string stuff that they added, like her essence, her like soul kind of, like all that was just phenomenal. Everything they added just made Inside Out even better. Like the first Inside Out even better. Like they didn't take anything away from the first movie or anything. Everything they did just added on just added on to the first movie and made it even better. It, such a good movie. But if it wasn't for Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, it may have ended up at the top of my favorites. But it didn't. It didn't, because I knew coming into 2024 that there was one movie that was gonna beat all other movies, and that was Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine was was everything. It was everything that I could have asked for. Like they I don't even think they meant to make references to the Dungeons and Daddies podcast, but they even made references to that. Like the on the Odyssey, there's a whole thing with like the Odyssey and the like free range parenting or um coexist bumper sticker, like there's so much that that was felt like a reference to Dungeons and Daddies, but I knew it wasn't. But every time like stuff like that happened, I just turned to my friend who was the one who showed me the Dungeons and Daddies podcast, and I was just like, how, like, did they mean to reference Odyssey song there? Or is that just something for us? A mistake on their end. Uh, even if the reference to Duns and Daddies wasn't even meant for Deadpool and Wolverine, there were so many other references and cameos in that movie that I'm not going to explain or go over, because I'm sure all of you guys have seen the movie, or if not seen the movie, have heard about all the cameos and stuff. So yeah, there's not even a point in explaining anything about this movie or why it's in my top favorite. Like you should know, but it's my number one favorite movie of this year. And with that, we're going to move on down to the disappointments. Now, for these, I've already spent over an hour talking about my favorites. So for these, I'm just gonna list these off. Like the there were so many reasons why I was disappointed in all of these movies that it'd take forever for me to just go over. Uh, I may go over a few, uh, like number 10. I'll just start it off actually. So for number 10, I have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Uh, it's it wasn't the most disappointing film of this year by far. It it shouldn't even have made this list, to be honest. But with it coming after one of the best trilogies, like probably the greatest trilogy. Well, maybe if Beyond the Spider Verse ever comes out, but until then, Planet of the Apes was the best or is the best trilogy, and I just I just didn't enjoy Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes that much. I didn't like how they made Caesar a Jesus type uh character, and I just I don't know. I just did not enjoy Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes as much as I thought I would, with it being in the same world and the same universe of the greatest trilogy of all time. It just it was it was a disappointment. I was disappointed with it not like being in the same. I don't know. I don't think it should be held up with the other, like with the trilogy. I don't think they did enough on their own to sorry, I have something in mind. I was pretty disappointed in it. Like I don't get why they had to make Caesar a Jesus archetype. Just made no sense to me at all. Like the Planet of the Apes has always been apes versus the humans, and then this movie was apes versus apes. I just yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was just it was a big disappointment. Number 9 was Mufasa. The only reason this was in my disappointment list was because of Timon and Pumbaa. They they ruined that movie for me. I would have had a great experience with the movie if they weren't as annoying as they were, interrupting the story of Mufasa. If they would have just kept it the original story of Mufasa and not trying to shove in your face like, "Oh, you remember this is tied in with the first one, right?" Like we still got to jump back and forth between the first one and remind you every time. I just didn't really understand. It was kind of stupid if you ask me, why they kept cutting back and forth and interrupting the story with Timon and Pumbaa of all people. It wasn't even their story they were telling. It made sense in Lion King 1.5. Did not make sense in Mufasa. Number 8 was Kraven. I don't think I really have to speak much about that. Like, yeah, it was a big disappointment. But after all of these other Sony movies have come out and have failed as well, I just it didn't leave much to be excited for when this movie came out. So yeah, even though it was a disappointment, it wasn't as big as a disappointment because we also had Madam Web at the beginning of the year, which was a bigger disappointment. in my opinion. So yeah, I just left Kraven at number 8. Number 7 is Speak No Evil. I just don't think James McAvoy was as scary as he could have been. I think he was scarier in Split. I was trying to think of the movie. Uh M. Night Shyamalan Split. I think he was more terrifying in that movie than he was in Speak No Evil. I mean, he was unsettling for sure, but was he evil? He just could have been a little bit more terrifying. And then M. Night Shyamalan's Trap could have been a lot better. Like I could have ended a lot sooner. That was that was a pretty big disappointment. Like it was a decent movie, and I'll watch it again. I enjoyed the majority of it, but it could have ended sooner. Half of the story didn't even need to be in the movie, and then yeah, that there was yeah, it was just disappointment. And one of my biggest disappointments of this year was not many people are gonna or not even gonna know of this or probably have heard of this, but my biggest disappointment is Descendants to Rise of Red. All I've gotta say is where's Kenny Ortega? Kenny Ortega should have still been with the Descendants movies. I don't know why he parted ways. Maybe he's coming back for the fifth one. I don't know. It just, I think Kenny Ortega knows how to make Disney Channel original movies. I think he knows how to do like big musical numbers, probably the best out of anyone. And I just didn't like The Rise of Red. And the majority of the issues I have are because Kenny Ortega just wasn't there for that one. Like all of my problems I have with this movie would have went away if Kenny Ortega was there. Like the music numbers just lacked a certain appeal. I don't think the music numbers were as big as they could have been or as they have been in the past Descendants movies with Kenny Ortega. Number 4 on my disappointments list is Megaflopolis or Megalopolis. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about that movie. It was just trash. Same as Joker Folie Do. I don't think the director really cared about any of the fans of Joker or DC, and he just decided to be like, "Oh, you liked the first Joker movie. Now fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. Like we're just going to do our own thing and we're going to show you this movie wasn't even about the real Joker. It's about the real Joker is going to kill the dude that you thought was the Joker the whole time. That's how we're going to end this movie. It was pointless. It was pointless. Borderlands don't remember anything about that movie. Got a great cast. Got a great cast. And I'm a big fan of the writer of the Borderlands 2 movie or Borderlands 2 game. That's what I meant, not the movie. The Borderlands 2 game. Anthony Birch. I'm a big fan of Anthony Birch's. He's the DM, the dungeon master of Dungeons and Daddies, my favorite podcast. But the movie, the Borderlands movie, I don't know anything about the games and just this movie just did not pique my interest for the games. I don't know anything about the movie or the games still after watching this 2-hour movie. I'm pretty sure I slept like 40 minutes of the movie, to be honest, because it was that boring. I fell asleep and woke up at the end. Madam Web, though, it was a interesting movie. Madam Web was definitely an interesting movie. That made it to my number one of most disappointed movies of this year. And I don't really think I have to explain why. I think everyone probably knows why. Uh yeah, it just wasn't a good movie. And with being in the spider universe, you'd think Sony would eventually bring Spider-Man into the movies, but no, apparently not. Apparently not. And I heard that they had the rights to Spider-Man. Like they could have put him in the movies the entire time, but they just didn't. They decided, nah, we're gonna make all these side characters like uh yeah, we're gonna make movies for all these side characters, but not put Spider-Man in them. What kind of sense does that make? You're trying to build up a Spider-Man universe. You would think you would want to put Spider-Man in some of the movies, not just hint at him several times, and then when the movie comes out, be like, "Oh, yeah, this is a whole different universe. This makes no sense to me." But uh I mean, good news. Sony, I think, is finally decided to give up on the Sony universe for now, at least for now. Hopefully, hopefully they make the right. Sorry. Hopefully they make the right decision of selling the rights back to Marvel, so Disney can allow the MCU to have Spider-Man finally. But yeah, hopefully that'll work. But until then, I just don't think we're gonna get any good Spider-Man movies. Maybe Spider-Man 4 will be decent, but with all the things I've heard about Spider-Man 4, I don't know what they're doing with that movie at all. Anyway, I'm gonna move down to my surprises of this year now. All right, starting at number 10. Transformers 1. I knew this was gonna be good. I knew it was gonna be good, but it was surprisingly really good. I was not expecting to love this movie as much as I did the second time. I dozed off the first time watching it, but watching it with my dad, I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. Uh, Watching it again, like it was, and watching all the stuff that I had missed the first time. My gosh, that was such a good movie. Uh, I hope they continue with making the animated Transformers movies, or at least making like the series, maybe like a Transformers series to go with Transformers 1, kind of like what they're doing with the Mutant Mayhem, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, with the series they just released for that. So I still haven't finished, but that series is also really good. Um, Number 9 was Twisters. I took my parents to watch Twisters as well as as well as Quiet Place Day One. Think they went and watched Twisters with me. Definitely, definitely in the eye of the storm. That's for sure. There was a lot of terrifying moments in that movie, and I only wish I would have watched it in 40x to even get to get an even better experience. That's like I don't have any complaints about the movie at all. It was just a great sequel to a already great suspenseful movie. Like they made Twisters even more suspenseful, like actually put you in like the eye of the tornado. It was amazing. It was somehow more terrifying than the first, and I don't know how they did it. Uh, and then I watched Unsung Hero. I didn't watch this in theaters, but I did watch it with my parents and my sister when it came out on DVD. It's about the I'm blanking on their names for now. It's the small bone brothers. Is that yeah? It's Joel Smallbone. Joel and Luke. I mean, they've got a bunch of siblings here. Rebecca St. James, you may know her as well. She's a famous Christian singer. And then Joel and Luke Smallbone, they formed for King and Country for King and Country, which is another country, not country, Christian band. I don't know why I said country. They're a Christian band, which they have a movie already that they worked on called Priceless, which came out in 2016, which was a epic movie. That was I shouldn't say epic. That it's a sad movie. It's a it's definitely one to go check out if you haven't. It's a sad movie. It's a good movie. And then they released a movie about their parents' lives. Movie about their parents' lives called Unsung Hero, about their uh about their move to America. This Australian family, this huge Australian family moving to America. That's a movie about that, uh, which was a surprisingly good movie. Um, Number 7 was Spaceman, which is Adam Sandler's next Netflix original. The it's about a it's about a guy that goes to space, but he's been in space by himself for such a long time now that you don't know. I was trying to get an overview of it, but I guess it's not gonna give me an overview. Okay, 6 months. Yeah, so he's been on his own for 6 months, and I like him and his wife are having trouble or something at home. They they don't want to like she doesn't want to get a divorce or something with them because she thinks she's going to go insane while he's up there if she does. Uh but he's been up there for like 6 months by himself, and then he runs into like a spider, but you're not sure like yeah, you're not sure if like the spider is in his head or if like the spider like is an actual like alien. Yeah, it's just a weird movie, but I recommend you watch it. Like it's just weird, but it's got Adam Sandler and it's got Channing Tatum in it. It's a good movie. A good movie. Definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't on Netflix yet. The Watchers, that's that movie that came out this year with um which one is it? I think it's Elle Fanning. Oh no, it's Dakota Fanning. I had the wrong one. Yeah, Dakota Fanning, not Elle Fanning. Um and this one was made by Ishana Night Shyamalan, not M Night Shyamalan's like daughter, I think. This was her first movie that she's made, and it's about fairies. Yeah, this is it's about fairies. Um, like like Tinkerbell, like those kind of fairies, like magical fairies, but not those kind of fairies. Like it is that kind of fairies, but it's not those kind of fairies. It's like the creepy, more horrifying version of fairies. It's like I don't know, it's like these people are trapped in like this glass cage, and then they can only do so much during the day and have to get back to the glass cage at night. And at night, all these fairies just stand around the glass and watch them. But you can't see them. You can't see the fairies at all. It just looks like the woods, like normal woods. But there's this glass house in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of the woods. And supposedly all these fairies are just staring at you from outside the glass. It's a creepy movie. I'll just say that. It's a creepy movie, but it was a surprisingly good movie. It was one of my favorites of this year that I've been surprised by. Like I didn't watch it in theaters, but I watched it on HBO or Max. I watched it on Max when it uh went on there finally, and I just sat back here and watched it, not expecting anything out of it. And then as soon as the concept started, like the story started, and I got hints of what the concept was gonna be about, I was like, "Oh, ooh, this is actually a really good movie. Like, this is actually really good, like horrifying, terrifying, like uh just concept of a movie." So yeah, that was a brilliant movie. And then this year, like it's it's hard to believe that this year we had Madam Web and Monkey Man. Like it's been several months since I've watched those, but I watched them this year. It's just hard to believe that. But yeah, number 5, Monkey Man, written and directed and starring and produced, and I don't know what else he did, but Dave Patel like did it all for Monkey Man, and he deserves all the nominations for this movie. But Dev Patel, I think I said Dave. Dev Patel, handsome man. He did it all for this movie. He did it like he wrote it, he directed it, he was the main star in it. Oh, why isn't it? Oh, there we go. And then he produced it, and Jordan Peele also got a producing credit on it. But yeah, it was. I believe he also like Dev Patel broke several bones in his body while also like filming this, because he did quite a few of his own like stunts for the movie as well. So I'm pretty sure like he broke a few of his bones. Um, yeah, like he did everything in this movie, and he definitely deserves all the awards for this. It was such a good movie. My friend, I took my friend to watch it, and he had one complaint about the movie. Like he didn't like the way it was filmed. Like he didn't like the camera shaking as much. I It didn't really bother me that the camera shook like that, but it bothered him. But yeah, that was the only complaint I have about the movie. I love this movie. It deserves all the awards, all of them. And then Venom: The Last Dance. Uh, that was a big surprise for me. Like after I n- I enjoyed the first Venom, but Carnage, or Let There Be Carnage, I didn't enjoy as much. And with Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter and Morbius and all those others releasing, I just did not expect much out of Venom 3. Like I seen the trailers and thought it looked fun, so I was going to go watch it. But then after watching it the first time, I was like, "Oh, that was actually a really good movie." And I immediately watched it again afterwards. Like I immediately watched it again afterwards. I I love that movie. Loved it. There are definitely some issues with that movie for sure. Definitely some issues. But oh, what am I doing? Yeah, there are definitely some issues with this movie for sure. Like the whole issue with like the symbiotes not not acting like their counterparts of the comics, or not. I'm not much of a comic book reader, but I've heard like the Venom symbiotes, that's what I was trying to think of. Like the other symbiotes just didn't have the same powers and abilities of their comic book counterparts. But I, not knowing the comics, like didn't have issue with that or anything. I, however, did have issue with uh some of the choices they made with like the trying to think of how to put this. Ah, forget it. I don't know how to say it without, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, it was a decent movie. There was some just bits and pieces that I didn't really agree with, but overall it was a great movie, and it surprised me more than it let me down. So yeah, it was it was one of the biggest surprises of this year. And then Piece by Piece, dude, that movie, that's gonna be like playing in the background like all the time now. Like I did not expect that to be as big as a movie as it was. Like I knew with it being um a Lego type movie about the guy who made like the majority of the biggest songs out there, especially like the now with the Despicable Me movies. Um, I knew it was gonna be like a good movie. I just wasn't expecting it to be as big or as surprising as it was, with how many people they got in the movie, as well as how many songs I didn't realize that Pharrell had wrote. And like the animation was just phenomenal. Like it was, they did not have to go that hard on this movie. It was just weird seeing this dude's life laid out piece by piece in Lego form. Like it was such a weird but wonderful movie. Um and I got a poster for it somewhere too. I'm gonna have to hang it up somewhere back here eventually. But yeah, that was such a good movie. And then Red One, that was one I watched more recently. Red One I really enjoyed. If you want my review for Red One, I just recently uploaded that like a week or two ago. So you can go watch that. It was one of the best holiday movies I've watched. I wasn't expecting Krampus or the Christmas Witch or any of that to be uh Lila or Ilya, something like that. I wasn't expecting any of them to be in there. Uh I just yeah, that was one of the biggest surprises of this year was that I was not expecting to love a Chris Evans, Dwayne Johnson Christmas movie as much as I did. Um, but the biggest surprise of this year for me was a little movie that came out in February, I think. I did not know much about this movie at all when I went to watch it. I just had seen the name of it, and I saw that Jason Statham was the star. And I asked my friend, I was like, "Hey, you want to go watch a hella good action movie? It's got Jason Statham in it, so you know it's got to be a good action movie." He's like, "Hell yeah, I'm down to get stoned and go watch a good action movie." And then we walked into this movie, and we walked out with our eyes wide open, and we're like, "Dude, how how did we have like time, the best time, and such a cheesy good action like cheesy?" And when I mean cheesy, cheesy. Like this whole movie is cheesy, but the action in it is such a good. Just thinking about the action in it, like the action in it, like reminds me of like the Equalizer. Like it's the Equalizer, but he's a he's a beekeeper. He's a decent dude. Like he's a good guy that's just trying to help out one of his neighbors, but he's like ex-military or something, and he he's a new uh he's a new beekeeper just as like a hobby or something. Like he's been a beekeeper for like a year or two, and then like one of his neighbors just um like runs into some trouble, and he uh he decides that he's gonna take it upon himself to go and take care of the antagonist of the movie that did his neighbor wrong. It was such a good movie. It was such a cheesy movie, but the action in it is phenomenal. The violence in it was was pretty epic, and and better yet, better yet, the antagonist, the antagonist is Josh Hutcherson. He plays a douchebag. He just plays a douchebag, hires a bunch of hackers. So like he's like top dude. He's just a billionaire douchebag that's like, yeah, trying to get all these other people to steal money from other people. Like it's such a good movie. If you have not seen The Beekeeper, I think it's on Peacock. If not, yeah, I don't know. It's on one of the streaming services, I'm sure. The biggest surprise to me of this year was The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. If you have not watched it, go watch it. Go watch it. Anyway, uh so with that being said, I'm just gonna list off all the other movies I want to watch this year, which was Despicable Me 4, Bob Marley, One Love, Ordinary Angels, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, It Ends With Us, The Apprentice, The Wild Robot, Saturday Night, Arthur the King, Dune Part 2, Challengers, Kinds of Kindness, Caddo Lake. I think that was a Max original, actually. Uh, Ricky Ricky Stenicki, I think that was a Prime original or Hulu original, something like that. And then my honorable mentions of this year for television is gonna have to go to Silo, which I was just recently watching. Actually, I was just watching the newest episode of season 2 right before recording this. I was catching up on that. One of the greatest television series that released this year. I think it was this year. Might have been last year for season 1, but it's on Apple TV. If you have not watched it, go watch it. It's Tim Robbins. I think that's his name. The guy from Shawshank Redemption. It's got him in it, and it's got Rebecca Ferguson, who plays the mom in Dune, actually. And it's about a whole silo, like, so like these people live in a silo, like it's, I don't know, like uh probably like 100,000 people like living in this one silo, like built into the ground of the earth, and they've been there for like 500 years or something like that. Or yeah, I don't know, something like that. They've been there for 100 years or whatever. um so they just live in the silo, and as the series goes on, like you're trying to figure out with the people living in the silo, going through all these like mysteries and stuff, like you're trying to figure out whether the outside is actually safe for people or not, because all these people in the silo have been told for years is that it's not safe, that there's a poison in the air, but some of them don't believe that, and they're trying to like figure out the truth, whether it's like whether the air is poisonous or not. uh it's a good show, but yeah, go watch that. And Agatha All Along, go watch that on Disney Plus. One of the best shows of this year, definitely one of the best MCU shows. Like it's in my top 3 for sure for MCU shows. Go watch that on Disney Plus. And then Fallout, I think that came out this year, on Prime. Go watch it. Yeah, yeah. These 3, go watch. Definitely recommend for different reasons, but totally recommend them all. And then my 2 favorite YouTube channels right now. I've been rewatching VGHS. I've rewatched it like twice now this year. Uh, Jeremy Wong actually liked one of my tweets about VGHS. Actually, one of the stars of the show. His brother wrote the show, Freddie Wong, who's also on Dungeons and Daddies. all ties into all ties into Dungeons and Daddies. Uh, yeah, VGHS, Video Game High School, one of the my favorite web series of all time, as well as Jet Lag. I found Jet Lag through Ludwig several years ago, but I just started. watching them, like I had found jet lag through Ludwig years ago and like added their stuff through to my watch later stuff and then never got to it. So I've been going through and watching all of Jetlag's videos as well as watching all of Ludwig's old VODs of him reacting to Jetlag's videos. So I've been having a great time with Jetlag. So yeah, go check out Jetlag and VGHS on YouTube if you've never seen them. My music mentions of this year are Maxton Waller, who wrote the theme music to Dungeons and Daddies. He also writes original music, but he was in my top 3 of this year for YouTube recaps. Actually, all 3 of these right here, Maxton Waller, Rin, and Lawrence, all 3 of these musical groups or musical artists, were in my top 3 or top 5 of my YouTube recap. Uh, yeah, love it. Love all of these guys. Love all these groups. And then of course, I showed you the guys this with my AMC stuff. But I did watch Coraline for the 15th anniversary and Interstellar with the 10th anniversary this year. So yeah, I rewatched those this year. 2 of the movies I rewatched the first time in like, I don't know, 7, 8 years probably. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this ranking list. And with all of these, like this is only half of what came out this year. Like this is stuff I've watched, but this is the list of stuff or the list of movies that came out this year that I haven't watched and plan to watch either just by myself or for the channel. Uh but yeah, like there's so many movies that I didn't get to watch this year. It's crazy. That's crazy how many movies there are in this list that I didn't get to watch from this year. But then you go look at the movies I did watch this year and it's just as long. Like, oh, yeah. That's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my rankings and I will see you guys in the next video where I will be watching all the trailers for 2025 for the movies coming out in 2025. Not all the trailers because you know there's 100 movies coming out next year, and there's only like 20 trailers out right now for the movies coming out in January, February, March, April, and I think there's a few trailers out for the movies coming out in like June and July, but not very many. Yeah, I'm going to be watching all the trailers, reacting to all the trailers of the movies coming out next year or this year, I should say, because it is the first of 2025. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this movie. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget that if you want to watch the full video of this where I'm just rambling on about all these movies and it's not edited, just yeah, go join my Patreon and you'll find it over there. All right. Bye bye.